Within the Chicana culture, women far more than men serve as archetypes. The idea of woman is simultaneously idealized and criticized. Both processes serve to reduce the idea of women to symbol rather than acknowledging real women's complexity. Many Chicana feminist theorists express interest in the reclamation of their culture's dominant stories, in particular those that regulate gender roles. The rewriting of myth, which necessarily entails rewriting ideology and cultural norms, operates within the theoretical framework. Within this video, I will show how these three figures have been reclaimed and stories rewritten by Chicana feminists seeking to restore their culture and deconstruct the gender roles within their Chicana history.
My name is Donna Marina. To others, I am known as simply La Malinche. Some call me a harlot or traitor of my people. This is my story.
It was a position she would first take centuries after her death in the form of writers and historians searching to explain Mexican history and the role of women.
The concept of this negative mother, the negative Eve, then started to come about because of also the negative light that the Spaniards began to be conceived in. The Spaniards were the enemy then in the 1810, 1821 with the Wars of Independence. And so anybody that was with the Spaniards was a traitor. Malinche had been with the Spaniards. Malinche therefore was a traitor.
Because there is a woman involved in this, has a narrative ready-made. Of course, Mexico falls. Of course, this wonderful empire falls. Because there's a woman, and woman is weak, and woman is the door, and she gets them in. And once they're in, not only is that, she produces a child.
However, Chicana feminists view La Malinche's role in the Spanish conquest as a model for Chicanas resisting traditional gender roles. La Malinche embodies those personal characteristics such as intelligence, intuitive, adaptability, and leadership, which are most often associated with Mexican American women, unfiltered by traditional restraints against public achievement. La Llorona was said to be a wandering woman who constantly wept around rivers. Supposedly, La Llorona was originally a happy married woman whose husband left, leaving her with 2 or 3 children. Instead of carrying on with her life, however, she chose to kill them, and thus has been forever portrayed as the long-suffering woman who weeps for her lost children. Her name suggests the constant wailing and weeping associated with this stereotype of the woman who was unable to cope with a man's departure, as well as the mother who deliberately killed her children. The story comes from the Mexican mythology, emphasizing the cruel consequences of abandonment of gender roles and what it means to be a mother. However, La Llorona does not abandon her gender roles. She deconstructs the gender roles of women and uses her children as a sacrifice to expose the oppression of the patriarchal society and to show how women do not have to submit to their Chicana fate of being a mother. In Sandra Cisneros, a Chicana feminist author, she rewrites the story of La Llorona and says that her call is not a feeble weeping, but a la gritona, a scream and holler signifying womanly strength and happiness in that strength. Gloria Anzaldúa writes that La Llorona's wailing is a sign of resistance in a society that glories the male dominance. She cries for all violated women and will forever exist as a representation of empowerment for those women. Virgin de Guadalupe is connected to the fertility goddess of the Aztec world as well as with the Catholic Virgin Mary. Within the patriarchal society, Virgin de Guadalupe stands for feminine submission as she incorporates ideals of motherhood, purity, selflessness, and willingness to sacrifice for the well-being of others. However, Chicana feminists recognize the image of La Virgen de Guadalupe, sanctioned by the Catholic Church, as unattainable. Therefore, these Chicana feminists challenge this silencing of female sexuality in Chicana culture by rewriting the story of the Virgin as a model for women to embrace the complexities of their own sexual desires. rather than abandoning the Virgin Guadalupe as a symbol, Chicana authors began to reinvent the Guadalupe myth, imagining her as an icon that reflects the real sexuality of women rather than forcing its suppression. Through Guadalupe, Chicana feminists redefines the meaning of Chicana sexuality by delegitimizing the binary division between virgin and whore, and by giving women a model for a complex and multiple, rather than idealized, female sexuality. To conclude, the Chicana women feminists reclaim their beloved figures as true representations of their culture and belief by rewriting their stories. For these Chicana feminist theorists, however, this dissolution of meaning marks not society's collapse, but an opening of possibilities for a world with less rigid gender roles and more tolerance of difference. Chicana feminists find a way to understand the complexities of contemporary identities without abandoning a connection with heritage, tradition, and history. However, in the end, there is still much to learn from their rewritings of the myths.